You woke up this morning and you remembered your name. You remembered where you live, who you love, and what you did yesterday. Your entire sense of who you are is built on a chain of memories that stretches back through the years, one moment linked to the next. But that chain has a broken end. Try to remember being 1 year old. Try to remember your first steps, your first word, the very first time you looked up and saw your mother's face. You can't. Nobody can. And the reason why is far stranger than simply being too young to remember. Think about what those years actually were. For the first 3 years of your life, you were learning faster than you ever would again. You learned to see. You learned to stand, to walk, to run. You absorbed an entire language out of thin air without a single lesson. These were the most important things you would ever do. So why would your brain quietly erase the memory of doing them? This blank space has a name. Scientists call it childhood amnesia. The term was first used by Sigmund Freud more than 100 years ago. He was fascinated that his patients could recall almost nothing from before the age of 6 or 7. Freud believed the memories were being hidden on purpose, locked away somewhere deep. He was wrong about the reason, but he was right that something remarkable was happening. Because in most cases, those memories are not hidden at all. They were never permanently built in the first place. To understand why, you have to understand what a memory actually is. A memory is not a video file sitting on a shelf in your head. It is a pattern, a specific set of connections between brain cells that fire together in the same way they did the moment something happened. To keep a memory for years, your brain has to hold that exact pattern still, protecting it while everything around it changes. And here is the problem. In a baby, almost nothing stays still. The part of your brain that files away personal memories is called the hippocampus. In an adult, it works like a careful librarian, taking each experience and stitching it into a place it can be found again later. But in a newborn, the hippocampus is still under construction. It is flooding itself with brand new neurons at a staggering rate, in a process called neurogenesis. It sounds like a good thing, and for learning it is. So how could growing more brain cells possibly make you forget? In 2014, 2 neuroscientists named Paul Frankland and Josselyn found the answer, and it was deeply counterintuitive. Working with young mice, they showed that this explosion of new neurons was actively overwriting old memories. Every fresh cell that wired itself into the hippocampus disturbed the delicate patterns already there. Imagine trying to keep a sandcastle perfectly intact while a crowd of people keeps digging new tunnels through the same beach. The castle does not survive. When the researchers slowed the growth of new neurons in the young mice, the animals suddenly kept their memories far longer. When they sped it up in adults, the adults began to forget like infants. The forgetting was not a flaw. It was the price of a brain growing at full speed. But biology is only half of the story. Because forgetting your babyhood is not only about the hardware in your skull, it is about something you did not yet have. You did not yet have words. Think about how you actually store the memory of a normal day. You narrate it. You tell yourself a little story. I woke up, I was late, the traffic was terrible, and then the meeting went better than I feared. Language is the thread you use to sew separate moments into a single memory you can walk back through later. A baby has no thread. A 1-year-old experiences the world as raw sensation, bright and loud and immediate, but has no way to tie those pieces into a story that lasts. The psychologist Catherine Nelson spent years studying how children learn to remember, and she found that autobiographical memory truly begins when a child learns to talk about the past with another person. When a parent asks, "What did we do at the beach today?" and helps the child build the answer, the child is learning the shape of a memory. Not just how to have an experience, but how to keep one. Before that skill exists, the moments simply pass through. There is one more missing piece, and it may be the strangest of all. To remember something happening to you, there has to be a you for it to happen to. And a newborn does not yet have one. In your first year, you cannot tell where you end and the world begins. Researchers test this with a famous experiment. They put a small dot of red on a baby's nose and sit the baby in front of a mirror. A very young baby reaches for the reflection, treating it like another child. But somewhere around 18 months, something clicks. The child reaches instead for its own nose. In that instant, the child understands that the face in the mirror is me. Only once that self exists can memories start attaching to it, like notes pinned to a person who is finally standing there to receive them. So the wall around your earliest years is really 3 walls standing together. A hippocampus rebuilding itself too fast to hold anything still. A mind without the language to turn moments into lasting stories. And a self that has not fully arrived yet. Pull any one of them away, and the memories still slip through. Is it any wonder the first chapter of your life is blank? But here is where it becomes personal. Where exactly does the wall end? When does the forgetting stop and the remembering begin? The psychologist Carole Peterson has studied this question for decades, interviewing hundreds of children and adults about their earliest memories. Her work points to a soft edge rather than a hard line. Most people's reliable memories begin somewhere around the age of 3.5. But she found something surprising about the fragments that come before it. The scraps people carry from age 2 or 3 are often not even real memories at all. They are reconstructions, stories you were told so many times about the birthday, about the family trip, about the day the dog ran away, that your brain quietly built an image to match the words and filed it as your own. You can feel like you remember something you only ever heard about. The picture in your head is real. The memory behind it may never have existed. This is the quiet twist inside your own mind. Some of your most treasured early memories may be gifts other people gave you, not recordings you made yourself. And you would never be able to tell the difference from the inside. It feels exactly like remembering. Now look at what this means for the person you are today. You did not lose those years, you spent them. Every one of those forgotten moments was doing something. The forgotten 1,000 times you heard your name became your language. The forgotten stumbles became your ability to walk without a single thought. The forgotten warmth of being held again and again became something deeper than any single memory. It became a baseline sense of whether the world is safe. Psychologists call the deep imprint left by those years implicit memory. You cannot recall it, but you are living inside it every day. The way you trust, the way you flinch, the way you reach for comfort was shaped in a room you will never be able to picture again. So the emptiness is not really empty. It is a foundation buried on purpose beneath everything you built on top of it. You cannot see the foundation of a house either. That does not mean it is not holding up every wall. You woke up this morning and you remembered your name. You remembered where you live, who you love, and what you did yesterday. But the deepest parts of who you are were written in a language you cannot read, during years you will never get back. by a version of you that had no words and did not yet know it was a person. You cannot remember becoming yourself. You can only remember being yourself. And maybe that is the most human thing of all, to be built entirely out of a beginning you were never allowed to keep.